Hello, everybody. My name is Necroxis, and I want to make a short video about something really cool that I just read. Oh my god, I'm still like teary-eyed from it. It's it's a new comic in the World of Warcraft universe. It's called it's the first one. I believe they're branding it as the Legion comics. It's World of Warcraft Legion #1 Magni Fault Lines, and it's the story of Magni Bronzebeard, who was petrified, although not as stone but as diamond, in the events of the Shattering right before the Cataclysm struck Azeroth, and that expansion proceeded. And that's when the Council of Three Hammers becomes a thing, because Moira returns, and she lays claim to Ironforge because she's the only living heir of Magni, and she's trying to claim Ironforge for her son, who is half Dark Iron and half Bronzebeard, because remember, Moira fell in love with Thaurissan, who was the Dark Iron leader, and in Vanilla, there was a quest chain to go free her from Blackrock Depths, and it turns out she's not actually mind-controlled. She actually fell in love with him and had a child. And then that whole shenanigans occur, and Falstad and Muradin agree to a Council of Three Hammers, and it's so this story takes place right before Legion begins, and it's the story basically. It's really, really short. And I don't want to explain the whole thing to you, but it's basically the story of Magni coming back to life. He was petrified as diamond, but he wasn't dead. But he was like paralyzed. He couldn't move, and he was presumed dead. But we see at the very beginning of the comic, he can see and hear what's going on. Like, Moira comes to him and is basically like monologuing to him, explaining, the seers and the magisters of Ironforge hope that her coming down and speaking to him would do something and make him come back, because they're still trying to figure out how to revive Magni, because he is the rightful king of Ironforge. And Moira has like this amazing monologue where she's like yelling at the statue, because for those of you guys who might not know, Magni and his daughter Moira, they have a very strained relationship. Magni always wanted a son so his lineage could continue, and he only ever had a daughter, and she resented him for it. And then when she ends up falling in love with Thaurissan and having the baby, it raises tensions even further, and and basically that whole storyline with Moira and Dagger and Thaurissan ends with Magni basically saying Moira and her son will not come back to Ironforge. He will not let the Dark Irons gain kind of power in Ironforge. And so Moira's just screaming at the statue. It's like, you never wanted a son, and I wish you could see me now, and you could see how much power I've accrued. And she's yelling, getting all her frustrations out, and then he unpetrifies. And then the story proceeds from there. And it ends with a really, really touching scene. The whole comic ends with a really touching scene between Magni, who, after he's revived, he goes off to warn the rest of the Alliance, because he has visions from Azeroth, the planet, the Titan. He's getting visions from the Titan Azeroth that the Legion's coming, and he's going to go warn the rest of the Alliance. But before he leaves, he meets with Moira in secret. And not really in secret, but he meets one-on-one with her in Old Ironforge, and they have this talk out where Magni basically says he defies expectations of what Moira goes into their thinking is going to happen, and he basically says, I couldn't be more proud of what you've become. You've become an amazing leader, an amazing ruler, and I look forward to seeing what you can do. He tells the Council of Three Hammers that he's not coming back to rule. That's not what he came back for. The Azeroth Titan told him to go and warn people from the Legion. And it ends Moira is drawn. She's drawn so great in this. What's the artist's name? I believe it's Ludo Lalabi. He's also done something else. Did he do Curse of the Worgen, which I absolutely love? I think he did. He did the art for Curse of the Worgen, which is it's the best WoW comic. I strongly recommend, if you can pick it up. Curse of the Worgen is so good. He drew this, and it was written by Matt Burns. It was just great. And the very ending of the comic, Moira's face and her expressions are just drawn so well, and she's tearing up. And Magni basically says, I want you to forgive me, and we can be a family again, because I've seen how you can bring all of the clans of Ironforge together, because when he's coming back, the rest of the Council of Three Hammers are really worried that if Magni assumes leadership again, the Dark Irons and the Wild Hammers are basically going to revolt, because they want Ironforge for the last 3 or 4 years has been a unified dwarf city, and if it goes back to being in control of just the Bronzebeards, they're going to feel left out. They're going to feel like they have no power, and they're going to revolt against Magni. And Magni basically tells Moira, like, I'm so proud of what you've done uniting the clans, and I hope that one day you can forgive me and we could be a family again. And he walks off. He says, I don't want an answer now, but maybe someday, and I'll be able to watch you and see what you're doing through the stone, and we'll meet again. And he leaves. And like the last panel is like Moira with her back to the audience, and you turn and you see her face, and like a single tear drops down. And I was like, oh! And like legitimately, like I started almost crying. Like I had like tears in my eyes. I was like, ah! I was still like sniffing them back. I even, like, at the beginning of the video, you could see me doing it. It was really, really good. What's really cool, on top of the comic being very good, is that Madefire, I'm not sure what Madefire is. Let's look it up real quick. Madefire. It's like some kind of motion. It, like, animates, like, comics and stuff. They did an animated version of the comic. It's not a cartoon. It's, like, the comic panels that are slightly animated. Like, the chat bubbles will pop up. Or, like, when Magni is resurrected, you see, like, the comic panel, like, rumble. And he, like, breaks free. It's really, really interesting. I'll leave a link to the motion version below in the comments because I want you to read it because it's really, really good. I like it a lot. I love Moira Tharson. She's one of the coolest secondary characters. I love the Dark Iron story. If you guys remember in 5.3 or 5.1, I don't remember which one, in Mists of Pandaria, when they have the Blood in the Snow scenario where it's Moira fighting against the trolls. That was like one of my favorite things of Mists of Pandaria because I love the Dark Irons. I love the idea of the good Dark Irons because they're not really fully good, but they're on the good side as opposed to the bad Dark Irons who are just slaves of Ragnaros. But whatever. But Moira and her good Dark Irons are really, really interesting and fascinating to me. And when we see her back in Legion as part of the Paladin class hall or Priest class hall, I was really excited for that. So. Go read this comic. It's really, really good. Get all the feels. And, yeah, let me know what you thought about it in the comments below. But until then, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Farewell.